Hey guys, my name is Aki. Today I'm going to be showing you how to cook a very simple fried rice. Now, I will not claim this recipe to be traditional by any sense of the imagination. It's not. This is my version of it, so I hope that you enjoy. I'm hoping to make this simple, healthy, but very delicious. My ingredients list is very simple. We've got chicken breast, onion, garlic, ginger. I can't get my hands on galangal. I live in the United States. Cauliflower, carrot, broccoli, frozen corn. Yes, I know. Go ahead and roast me. And then we've got some old rice. This is admittedly more than just a day old, closer to about 3 or 4 days, but it is very good for this particular type of rice due to its age. You never want to use hot rice in fried rice. Also got soy sauce, and whoops, I forgot to pull out and beat those eggs, so I'll be right back. One thing I've learned is that when making fried rice, the ingredients should never be larger than the smallest of the ingredients, but maybe not quite the same size as the rice. So the smallest ingredient here is the corn kernels. I'll be chopping everything to roughly that size, aside from maybe the garlic, which will be heavily minced. The onion will probably be about the same size as the garlic though. If you can't tell, this is actually my very first video, so forgive me if things seem a little choppy. No pun intended. I'm going to start with the ginger and take just a small section off. And you can peel it easily with a spoon, which is something I learned from watching Uncle Roger. Shout out to him, shout out to Chef Brian Tsao. Some of my favorite food commentary reaction videos are from those two particular chefs, along with Gordon Ramsay. You will never get me to say a bad thing about Gordon, that's for sure. Now, when slicing anything, watch your fingers. Hands down, watch them fingers. Do not let them get in the way. I know Chef Sal says he prefers when chefs hold the blade like this. I found that to be physically uncomfortable for me. Now, because this is going to be a single serve portion, you won't see me using a lot of any of these ingredients, aside from the garlic. Also, due to some minor dietary restrictions, I will not be using any salt. And MSG is next to impossible to find here, so sorry, Uncle Roger, no dice there. In order to chop garlic more easily, you crush it. That easily releases the outer peeling where you can literally just pull it right on off. See? Came off in an instant. I do like to remove the base of it though. Also, sorry for any recording quality. This is on my phone, and I do not have a cameraman. I'm using a camera stand. My apologies if the quality is terrible. But notice what I do with my fingers, how I'm putting them on the front of the blade. Then I have a little more control over the knife while still being able to chop easily. I put the garlic, the onion, and the ginger inside a small dish separate because these are going to be 3 first ingredients going into the pan. Put that to the side, and we are starting on the cauliflower. Now you don't need to break it down that far. Cauliflower cooks pretty quick. But with the wok, it will cook even faster. So depending on how quickly you want it to cook, that determines how much you break it down. I personally prefer smaller pieces because that's just a personal preference. Now again, this is a personalized recipe that I'm using. So do not expect this to be the recipe that you will always use. It might not be. You might prefer a completely different recipe. Which is why I say this is not a traditional fried rice. It's not, by any stretch of the imagination. About the only thing that can be considered traditional is that I'm going to be using a wok and a high heat oil. I'll probably end up speeding a lot of this up when I actually get to the editing process. Okay. And I'm pulling apart the chicken, which was actually made the day before as well. So it's cool enough to simply tear apart. You know what? I'm gonna throw in a little more cauliflower and broccoli, just so I can enjoy it, because I like both of them. Also, I know Uncle Roger says vegetables taste like sad. He probably just hasn't had any well-made ones because, personally, I'm a huge fan of vegetables. Yeah, go ahead and roast me for that one, Uncle Roger. I don't care. I like vegetables, and have since I was a kid. I don't think my parents could have ever really called me a picky eater. All right. Next up is the cooking stage. Right here I have a carbon steel wok. It's a fairly new one, but I've used it a little bit. It is not non-stick, and it came with these 2 utensils as well as a few others. And for my oil, forget olive oil, but I'm also not using vegetable oil. I'll be using coconut oil. But this is my first time using it, and I am not ashamed to admit it might not turn out the way I'm expecting it to. My ADHD brain just realized I forgot to slice the carrot. Whoops. Meh. Couple pieces tried to fly away from me there. All right. And that's the carrot. I actually wasn't joking when I mentioned my ADHD brain. I forget things quite frequently. We are going to start off with a little bit of the coconut oil to season the pan or wok. Because this is not naturally a non-stick wok, you do have to season it. Add a bit more. The reason I'm using coconut oil is because we don't actually have the typical oils that an Asian household would use, like peanut oil. And sesame oil is more for flavor than it is for actual cooking. And vegetable oil, I really don't feel like that's going to be the oil I want to use. Okay, it is now smoking. Drain said oil, the now used oil. I like to do it into a bowl with a paper towel. A little fresh oil. And in goes the garlic, ginger, and onion. That is gonna start sizzling straight off the bat, and that's the sign you gotta make. Sorry about that. My setup is literally just a small camera stand. Once things start going in, you got no time. Get moving, get the food moving. It doesn't take long for it to burn. In go the vegetables. And that snapping is due to the corn still being fairly frozen. And then goes some of the food. Again, this wok is still quite new to me, so I'm getting used to it. Now this egg is gonna move fast. Therefore, I gotta move fast. I also need a better camera setup, apparently. Not sure how much of all this you guys can see. In goes the rice. Again, due to dietary restrictions, I will be using low sodium soy sauce. Also personal preference on that. I would actually like it better that way. When cooking with the wok, you don't necessarily need salt in MSG. Sure, it's nice to add flavor, but the wok adds incredible flavor to the food as well. Next, the chicken. Get that in there just enough to heat up. Off with the flame, and I'm moving it off the area where the heat was. I'm just going to take one of the bowls that I used before, scoop in that rice, and there we go. That's one completed bowl of just a standard fried rice. Not traditional, but pretty tasty. Probably some stuff I could have done better, but to me, it's good. Not ashamed to admit, I'm actually still quite new at cooking. Give me a recipe and I can follow it pretty easily, but I still have to learn how to make it my own in a sense. And I'm still doing that with the flavors on fried rice. Thank you for your time. I'll see you again.